Oh, that I had, or its twin brother in misery. Oh, that I had not. This is the silent, bitter cry of so many souls. It is the anthem of the failed life, the hymn of the regretful heart. It is the cry of the man who would give life itself, all his worldly goods, for one single solitary chance to go back and retrieve a long-past error, to unsay the cruel word, to perform the neglected duty, to seize the opportunity he let pass by. But time, my friends, is a relentless forward march. It does not reverse. The moments that come to us, these precious, unrepeatable instants, are worth more than years. As the wise Dean Alford wrote, there is no proportion between spaces of time in importance, nor in value. A stray, unthought of 5 minutes may contain the event of a life. And this all-important moment, this hinge of destiny, who can tell when it will be upon us? It arrives unannounced. It demands our immediate and total attention. Are you ready for it? But let us be clear. These moments, these turning points, are not mere accidents. They are not bolts from the blue that strike the lucky and ignore the rest. The great Dr. Arnold explained it perfectly when he said, "What we call a turning point is simply an occasion which sums up and brings to a result all previous training." Did you hear that? It brings to a result all your previous training. Accidental circumstances are nothing, absolutely nothing, except to men and women who have been trained, prepared, and conditioned to take advantage of them. The opportunity to discover gravity was not an accident for Newton. It was the culmination of years of study. The opportunity to save his passengers was not an accident for Captain Herndon. It was a final exam on his character of indecision, and he failed it. Your life is that training ground. Every book you read, every skill you master, every habit of discipline you forge is preparing you for your great moment. Every moment of laziness and neglect is preparing you for failure. And here we arrive at the great sickness of our modern age. The trouble with so many of us is that we are forever looking for a princely chance, a single lottery ticket to fame and fortune. We are dazzled by what the great Emerson called the shallow Americanism of the day. We have been poisoned by a culture that celebrates the destination but despises the journey. We are expecting mastery without apprenticeship. We want the crown without the fight, the victory without the battle. We demand knowledge without study, and we seek riches not by the sweat of our brow and the creation of value, but by the flimsy artifice of credit and speculation. We want the prize, but we refuse to run the race. This is a fool's errand, my friends. It is a spiritual disease that leaves the soul weak and the hands empty. True, lasting success is never an event, it is a process. It is built brick by brick, habit by habit, day by disciplined day. And so I turn to you. Yes, you, the young man and the young woman listening to my voice right now. I ask you the question that thunders down through the ages. Why stand ye here all the day idle? Do you truly believe the land was all occupied before you were born? That the earth has ceased to yield its increase? Do you think the seats are all taken, the positions all filled, the great chances all gone? I tell you, you are living in the most opportunity-rich moment in all of human history. Are the resources of your country fully developed? Are the secrets of nature all mastered? Is there no new way in which you can utilize these precious fleeting moments to improve yourself or to benefit your fellow man? Must you resign yourself to a life of quiet desperation? Is the competition of modern life so fierce that you must be content simply to gain a meager living and nothing more? You must answer these questions, not with words, but with your life. Think of the gift you have been given. Have you received this sacred gift of life in this hour? The most progressive age the world has ever known. An age wherein all the experience of the past is garnered and collected for your inspiration, merely so that you may increase by one the sum total of purely animal existence. To eat, to sleep, and to die? What a monstrous waste that would be. You were born in an age and a country in which knowledge and opportunity abound as never before. How then can you sit with folded hands, asking God for aid in work for which He has already given you the necessary faculties and strength? This is the height of impiety. Remember the story of the chosen people, trapped before the Red Sea, with Pharaoh's armies thundering behind them. Their leader, Moses, paused for divine help, and what did the Lord say? He did not part the waters instantly. He thundered, Wherefore criest thou unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel, that they go forward. Go forward, that is the eternal command. And where do you go? Everywhere. The world is full of work that desperately needs to be done. Human nature is so constituted that your smallest act, a pleasant word, a trifling assistance, may stem the tide of disaster for some fellow human being, or clear their path to success. Your own faculties are so arranged that it is in honest, earnest, persistent endeavor that you will find your own highest good. And you are surrounded by countless noble examples to encourage you to dare and to do. With all of this, each moment that passes brings you to the threshold of some new opportunity. The world is not a barren wasteland, it is a target-rich environment for the man or woman of action. You do not need to wait for some grand engraved invitation to begin your life's work. The invitation is the sunrise each morning. The invitation is the problem that vexes you. The invitation is the cry for help you hear down the street. Act. And this brings me to the great central thundering command of this entire address. Do not wait for your opportunity. Do not scan the horizon, hoping for some ship laden with success to magically appear. You must make it. Make it as the shepherd boy Ferguson made his, when he had nothing but a string of glass beads and used it to calculate the distances of the stars. He did not wait for a telescope. He created a celestial instrument from what he had. He wanted knowledge, so he forged the tools to get it from the materials at hand. This is the spirit that conquers worlds. It is the mindset that separates the master from the servant, the creator from the consumer. What beads do you have in your pocket right now? What simple tools, what humble knowledge, what overlooked assets are you ignoring while you pray for a miracle? Your miracle is in your hands. It is in your mind. Forge it. Make it. Make it as the great George Stephenson made his. Down in the dark, grimy coal mines, a world of dirt and toil, he was a boy with no formal schooling, no access to the libraries of the rich. But he had a burning desire to understand the world of machines. And what did he do? He found his slate and his textbook on the grimy sides of the coal wagons that rumbled past him in the dark. With a simple piece of chalk, he mastered the rules of mathematics, scrawling equations on the nearest available surface, turning the tools of his labor into the instruments of his education. He did not complain about his lack of paper. He found a way. This is the fire I am talking about. This is the ingenuity that cannot be suppressed. The world will always make way for the man whose boiling passion is so intense that it melts all obstacles in its path. What is your coal wagon? What is the unlikely surface upon which you can write the first equation of your future success? You may say, "But Dr. Marden, I am not a shepherd boy genius. I am not an engineering prodigy." And I hear you. But let us speak of the man who defined an era, Napoleon. You may say, "But I am not Napoleon." And I say to you, my friend, thank God you are not. For the mountain of self-doubt you face in your own heart is a greater obstacle than any physical peak he ever crossed. The Alps were a molehill compared to the mountains of fear and apathy that keep most men from ever starting their march. And yet, the very same force is required. Napoleon made his opportunity not once, but in 100 impossible situations. His genius was a genius of action, of seeing a fleeting chance on the battlefield and hurling his entire force into that breach while his opponents were still conferring. The same grit that conquered the Alps is the very same force you must summon now to conquer your own inertia. The battlefield is different, but the law of victory is the same. Act decisively in the face of the impossible. Make it as all true leaders of men, in war and in peace, have made their chances of success. They did not inherit them. They did not find them. They forged them in the fires of their will. They manufactured them in the laboratories of their minds. This is the great secret. Golden opportunities are absolutely nothing to laziness. You could shower a lazy man with chances, and he would only complain about the noise. But to the man or woman of industry, the commonest chances become golden. The industrious person sees the raw material of success where others see only dirt. They see the glimmer of possibility in the mundane. They understand that it is not about finding a perfect, polished, golden opportunity. It is about taking a common, everyday chance and, through your own effort, your own energy, your own genius, polishing it until it shines with a golden luster. So not a finder of gold, you are an alchemist who turns lead into it. The immortal Shakespeare, that master of the human condition, knew this law as well as any general or scientist. He wrote in Julius Caesar, and his words should be branded upon your soul. There is a tide in the affairs of men, which, taken at the flood, leads on to fortune, omitted. All the voyage of their life is bound in shallows and in miseries. Can you see the imagery? Your life is a voyage upon the sea. The currents of opportunity come and go. There are moments when the tide is high, when the currents are favorable, when a great flood of possibility can carry you swiftly towards your goal. If you have the courage to launch your ship at that moment, you will be carried on to fortune. But if you miss it, if you are not ready, if you hesitate, if you are a little behindhand, that tide recedes. And the rest of your life's voyage is spent stuck in the mud, in the miserable shallow waters of what might have been. You must learn to read the tides of your own life, and you must be ready to sail the instant the water is deep enough. And on that great voyage, we must be vigilant against all the enemies of action. Another poet warns us with equal fire, "'Tis never offered twice, seize then, the hour when fortune smiles, and duty points the way. Never offered twice." Let that sink into your being. This very moment, this chance you have right now, will never come again in precisely the same way. And what are the siren songs that will try to pull you off course? He names them for us. Nor shrink aside to escape the specter fear. Fear will rise like a ghost, telling you that you are not ready, that you will fail. Banish it, nor pause, though pleasure beckon from her bower. Ease and comfort will call to you, offering a life free from struggle. Reject it, for growth only happens against resistance. No, my friends, you must bravely bear the onward to the goal. Your eyes must be fixed on the prize, your heart must be stout, and your will must be like iron. You are the captain of your soul, and you must navigate past the phantoms of fear and the islands of idle pleasure. So now, we have come to the end of our address, but to the beginning of your new life of action. The principles are clear, the undeniable. The power, my friend, has been in you all along. My purpose here has not been to give you that power, but simply to awaken you to the fact that you possess it. This is not theory. This is a practical manual for living a life of significance. It is time to close the book of excuses and to open the ledger of achievement. Every great man and woman in history has followed these laws, whether they knew them by name or not. They saw a chance, they felt the fire of their own conviction, and they acted. From this day forward, I want you to see the world not as a spectator, but as a participant, a creator, a mighty force for progress. Look at every problem as a disguised opportunity. Look at every setback as a lesson in strength. Look at every day as a fresh page on which to write a history of victory. This is not the end. This is a beginning. And a beginning requires a first step, an immediate action. So I charge you now, let us turn this inspiration into a movement. Let us create a community of strivers, a fellowship of builders and doers. I want you to make your commitment public, for a declaration made before others has a power that a silent wish does not. I ask you now, as your first act of seizing this moment, comment below with the one great ambition you will now pursue without hesitation. What is the evangeline you will write? What is the evangeline you will discover? What is the lightning you will tame? Do not be modest, do not be shy, declare it with fire and conviction. Let the world know that a new force has been awakened within you today. Your declaration is your first victory. It is the sound of your ship leaving the harbor, bound for the open sea of fortune. And I have a second charge for you. After you have declared your grand ambition, I want you to ground it in the immediate present. An ambition without an action plan is merely a dream. So I ask you this, and answer it with the same conviction. Share the very first physical action you will take this week to apply this principle. Will you make that phone call you have been dreading? Will you write the first page? Will you register the business name? Will you buy the book and begin your study? Make it small. Make it concrete. Make it something you can do within the next 7 days. This is how mountains are moved, not by staring at them, but by carrying away the first small stone. Your great journey does not begin with a leap across the chasm. It begins with a single resolute step. Post that first step below your ambition. Let your plan be as public as your goal. Finally, I speak to those of you who are in the thick of the fight right now. To those who feel the weight of the world, who face your own personal Alps of doubt and despair. Do not suffer in silence. That is the strategy of defeat. I invite you now to use this space as a crucible for your will. Declare your challenge in the comments below. Do not describe it as a problem, but as a mountain you have resolved to climb. I am facing the challenge of finding capital for my invention. I am facing the challenge of overcoming my fear of public speaking. Frame it as a declaration of intent to conquer. This act alone, the act of naming your enemy and declaring your intention to fight, is your first step towards conquering it. Know this community will stand with you. We will read your declaration and we will cheer you on. You are not alone in your struggle. Declare your war on what holds you back and let us be your allies. My work here is done, but yours is just beginning. The fire has been lit. Now you must tend to it, feed it with action, and build it into a roaring conflagration that will consume your doubts and illuminate your path forward. Remember the lessons of this day. Remember Longfellow and the sea's story. Remember Archimedes and the overflowing bath. Remember Galileo and the swinging lamp. Remember Newton, Franklin, and Columbus. They were men, just as you are a man or a woman. Their greatness was not in their blood, but in their choices. They chose to see, they chose to act, they chose to seize the moment. Now it is your turn to choose. The tide is high, the way is clear. Fortune and duty are pointing the way. Go forward and build the magnificent life that you were destined to live. Thank you. Do not let the fire I have kindled in your heart today be extinguished by the cold winds of tomorrow's routine. Guard it jealously. The world is full of people who will, with the best of intentions, try to smother your newfound ambition with practicality and caution. They will tell you to be realistic. They will remind you of the risks. They will ask if you are sure. But the men and women who change the world are never sure. They are committed. They operate not on certainty, but on faith in their own vision and their own power to make that vision a reality. When doubt whispers in your ear, I want you to remember the sound of Joe the brakeman's eternal regret. Oh, that I had. Let that haunt you more than any fear of failure. For failure is a temporary state, a lesson on the path to success. But regret is a terminal disease of the soul. Choose the risk of action over the certainty of regret. Go forth and dare greatly.